Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's session with the Jet Force. I am so happy to be joined by my good friend Paul André. Paul André, how are you?
Hello, I'm very fine and nice to see you, Kev.
Thank
I
you.
hope you are doing well too.
I'm doing great. I'm doing great, and I'm doing especially well because today we have some of the data that we were able to get from a study that us at Taktiful, we teamed up with the well-known media company What They Think here in North America, and we ran the digital embellishment study. And I thought it might be interesting to kind of share some of that information with the Jet Force users, just so they get a good feeling of what's going on out there. And I think Paul André, this is your first time discovering this as well.
Yeah.
So it'll be good to have a good conversation and kind of walk through the presentation as to what's going on. So, without
Yes.
further ado, let's kick this thing off. All right. Here we go. Can you see me, Paul André?
I have like a black screen on your
Okay.
back, but there is nothing still available now. Yes,
Now,
everything is
yes.
okay.
You see the
Perfect.
presentation
Thank
up
you.
here?
Yeah, looks great.
All right, everybody. So we're going to talk a little bit about the state of digital embellishments as to what we're seeing in the market today. And I think it's important to understand more or less just the trends. If I'm a user of this technology, I want to know what's going on out there. I have clear understanding of what's going on inside my print shop, but I think one of the big things is I want to kind of see what's going on in everybody else's print shop. So, a little bit about the study, Paul. I don't know if you remember this in 2023. Taktiful and What They Think, we actually teamed up on our first survey
Yeah.
and did like the first, intel work on what's going on in the world of digital embellishment. Between then and this latest survey that came out in 2025, we had Drupa, which I think a lot of people were calling the embellishment Drupa. I don't know. Did you guys call it the embellishment Drupa at MGI?
Yeah, definitely. We have never seen as much as manufacturer like this offering digital embellishment technology, whether for sheet fed and roll to roll. So we clearly see that today the industry is truly embracing this technology, and this technology is today offering solutions for industrial for companies that are looking for added value and nice stuff on top of the print.
I couldn't agree more. And I think that's really one of the big things that came out is in 2023, we got an understanding that there was movement in digital embellishment. Drupa kind of solidified the feeling that embellishment was coming. And I think a lot of the study that a lot of the data that we recovered this year in 2025 really confirmed that what we're saying is true. The digital embellishment wave is not coming, it's here. And now's the time to move. So let's talk a little bit about what we found. This study presentation, Paul André, I could have done it two ways. I could have just gone through every question that we asked. It was a 40 question survey and tell you what everybody answered. But I thought what might be more interesting is to tell everybody some of the key things that has changed or evolved since 2023 until
Absolutely
today
correct.
so that we can kind of measure the difference of what's happening. And so I think that's what the biggest thing that we saw is in 2023, a lot of the answers that we got was kind of showing that this was more a novel technology. So still something that was being seen as novel. I think today we're in a different world where a lot of the answers that were coming back, people understand the profit model and how to make money with this. They have either been outsourcing this to people who have the technology for the past couple of years, understand what the business looks like, and made the decision to now insource instead of outsource. A lot of people are making their buying decisions based on existing models, not gut feeling. So there's a lot more, I think, maturity from a market standpoint that we're seeing that's kind of really impacting the market. And, we talk about the product life cycle adoption curve. Any product, Paul Andre, it could be a cell phone, it could be a car, it could be anything. When it comes to market, there's always going to be a certain amount of people who are going to buy that product, right? Or that technology. And those people are called the innovators. And then right after those innovators, you have the early adopters, but more or less it makes up about 15, 16% of the market. And if your technology doesn't find a product market fit, meaning the market doesn't accept this technology, typically what you'll see where there's that rocket probably right above my head right here.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
technology goes and dies and never makes it past that. And what we're seeing now is that there is a whole bunch of new manufacturers coming to the table, a whole bunch of new technologies being developed, a whole bunch of new choices for customers to decide, okay, there's a lot of different players out there. There's a lot of different formats out there. Do I want roll? Do I want sheet? Do I want big sheet, little sheet, medium sheets? There's a lot more choices for customers, and that's telling us that digital embellishment has crossed the chasm and we
Yeah.
are now selling into the early majority, meaning that it's no longer people who are like the first in everything that are buying this technology. People are buying this because they know how to make money with it. Is this something that is reflected kind of in what you're seeing in the field, Paul?
Yeah, definitely. When I think in from 2015 to 2020, there is like we had like this early adopter curves. Companies were investing step by step in digital embellishment technology. So we are not speaking about early adopter because this technology and digital embellishment technologies rise and appear early 2010.
Yeah.
But now digital embellishment become like a commodity for companies, and the companies cannot stand out from digital embellishment technology and offering digital embellishment process to their customers.
Yeah.
When it was special a few years ago, now it's become a commodity, and company needs digital embellishment. This is
Right.
truly what I think, what I see in Europe. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the data kind of supports it's still not I think the word commodity is not necessarily how I would describe it because it's still early adopter or early majority. But what it is now becoming is part of a core offering, meaning that
Yeah.
now people, it's not a nice to have, is a need to have. And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what we're really seeing. So let's talk about some of the key pieces that came out of this. It is now moving into, print is now seen as a premium product, believe it or not. Like it was funny because for a long time, print was seen as commodity. And a lot of the data that we're showing now is that, people really will, if they're going to print something, it's seen as a high-end piece, right? If you're going to print something, you're going to spend more money than if you did a digital ad or a digital
Yeah.
email
Yeah.
campaign. So a lot of the reasoning is if we're going to do something, we're going to do something really spectacular to increase our lifts or increase our response rate or increase our perceived value. These are all key things that we're starting to see come out of this. And one of the big things that we saw was why are people investing in this type of technology? What is the ROI reasoning? And in 2023, what we saw was most people were buying it to make a profit. But that number has even skyrocketed much higher this time around, where now people really understand that right here is really where we want to be from a investment decision making standpoint.
Yeah.
It's not seen as that much of a risk as it was in 2023. In 2023, people would buy it because their customers were telling them that I need to buy this machine. So client demand was one of the key drivers. Today, it's almost becoming a reason for investing is more based on a known business model, a known ROI model than what it was in the past. So
Yeah.
that's good. People are investing for the right reasons, not
Yeah.
just because they have a gut feeling, because they
Yeah.
know the math behind it is making sense. This is, I think, interesting, Paul André. Tell me what you think of this. In 2023, when we asked the our respondents, what percentage of your competition is currently offering digital embellishments as well? They said 28%. And we asked them the same exact question this time around, and that went from 28% to 50% of the people who were surveyed, when asked if your competition offers digital embellishment, they said they do. And so this is really phenomenal when you look at a 22% percentage point jump in just 1.5 years in terms of how many people are out there. And it could be that they're buying technologies. It could be that people are finding outsourcing partners that could
Mhm.
do this kind of stuff for them. But there's been a definite big shift from expected competition being able to offer also digital embellishment. So there's a little bit of a thing called FOMO. Are you familiar with what FOMO means, Paul André?
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the fear of missing out.
Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of people now reporting higher levels of competition. What are some of your thoughts on this slide? What do
Defi
you think?
Definitely, we are in. So, digital embellishment is a way to survive, to retain customer, and to make them loyal with
Right,
your company, and to make them reorder, etc. So,
exactly.
print service provider, they are looking to retain and to still have this relation with their customer, to have a daily orders, etc. So having the capabilities to offer and to answer to 95% or 100, the maximum percent to the customer needs, they will go for it. So we are truly in this situation, definitely. Yeah.
Cool. Cool. So, okay, I think this is the most interesting piece. We have seen in the past 2 years, and I think a lot of people will say this, a 400 percentage point increase. So that's 4x increase in terms of people who have daily use jobs on their embellishment presses. So I'm going to repeat that. I'm just going to go ahead and drop the mic right here. I don't know if you can see that's I'm dropping the mic. But we have seen a quadrupling of users now using this on a daily basis. In 2023, we had a lot of people that were maybe doing, one, two, maybe five, six jobs a week. Now we're seeing people multiple jobs a day, meaning these presses are really running a lot more than they used to. So that just, I think, is a good reflection of the demand generation that's going on out there, that the brands are starting still to get a little bit more educated on what this can do
Yeah,
for them.
yeah, definitely yes.
And there's
They know that now they are able to ask for it, and they
right,
will and companies and print service provider will be able to answer for it. So
exactly,
there is like the market rules are truly established now.
exactly. So we're really
There is
seeing
a demand. Yeah,
yeah, there's an increase in demand. We're seeing it as a core part, not an ancillary part. And I just got off a phone with a user that we're training right now, and he loves it. And we were talking a little bit about ROI, and he goes, it's really funny because the ROI on my jet varnish is not just the jobs that I run on my jet varnish, it's the jobs that I run on my Heidelberg and on my
yeah.
Indigos. Because I have this finishing capability. It's opened up new opportunities for me, and it's actually driving a lot of my print work, which I thought was interesting. So I think a lot of the Jet Force users here could probably relate to that. That the Jet Varnish doesn't just make you, I think, hopefully, doesn't just make profit on the finishing, but also pushes your printing
Yeah,
volumes.
definitely. I mean, I will say that it's a door opener for new market as well.
Right, right.
So having these finishing capabilities, you are able to address new markets, to find new markets, new customers. So it's always a very good point for print service provider that are looking for bigger volumes,
Yep,
more added value jobs,
yep.
etc. So they have now the solution and the key to enter in those markets.
Yeah, 100%. So big increase in usage. This was kind of interesting. In 2023, the top applications that we were seeing was business cards, brochures, tickets, labels, and folding carton. And we've kind of seen a relatively big shift in the past 2 years in terms of most popular applications that people are using. Business cards still, that's the king of the hill in terms
Yeah.
of the application. I get my business cards done by he charges me $1 a card for embellishment. Like, do the math. It's absolute pure money that they're printing. One of the big things that we've seen, and I don't know, this probably doesn't necessarily apply to a lot of our European or Asia Pacific friends, but we've seen an dramatic increase in popularity of direct mail. So here in the States, different. We don't have GDPR. So when I go to
Mhm.
my mailbox, I usually have a ton of really cool looking print that people send me to promote their services or promote their products or whatever it is. And what we're seeing is number one, the U.S. Post Office is giving rebates on postage. So you can get, I think, a 5% rebate if you have embellishments on your print. So that, lowers your print cost. But there's been such a dramatic rise in response rates if I put digital embellishment on a direct mail piece, that has really rapidly become one of the top applications that we're seeing
Yeah.
for embellishment. So imagine receiving something from Caesar's Palace with your name in gold on it. I mean, that's something you're not gonna throw that away, right? So I think that's
Probably it will bring a big impact for sure. Yeah.
yeah. Well, and the people who have done it once, they see the score results, like, oh my God. And what we're seeing is that they continuously come back to this. And maybe
Yeah.
let's say they have a million pieces that they're sending out. Maybe they're going to segment out maybe their top 10,000 users or top 50,000 users, whatever it is, and just hit those people with the embellishments. And then the other ones get the CMYK. But they understand that, in order to get people's attention at the mailbox,
Yeah.
this stuff really works. So they're really leaning hard into it. And I think the brands have figured this out. Um, Brochures, obviously, marketing materials are always popular. I don't know. Did you see our brochures that we did put on there?
Yeah. Wow.
Oh yeah,
Very nice.
our friends at Team Concept, also Jet Force users, they did
Wow.
this beautiful piece on their Jet Varnish.
It's a beautiful piece. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Team Concept. We made a video about it. We posted it. Check out our LinkedIn. It's really cool how they did it. And then what we're seeing is the rise of books. So books are
Yeah.
really coming back hardcore.
Definitely. This is
You-
what we see as well in Europe. Now there is no books without embellishments. There
Really?
is no books now.
Wow, that's great. Even I think the books of ones or the books of 20s, the shorter runs where you don't necessarily have to create a long workflow. This is really perfect for the books.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Even
def
for very short runs or long runs,
yeah.
every books now have or spot UV or hot foil stamping effect on it. Yeah,
Yeah, we see that too. And then we have POS display, so point of sale. This is if you're in a store and you're looking to, I don't know, you're walking by and maybe there is an end cap, maybe they're trying to sell beauty products, or maybe they're trying to sell razors, or these are the things that, believe it or not, is really starting to rise. Is the not that necessarily the packaging of the products, but the displays,
the
which the
shelf.
products, yeah, that hold the products, are actually getting a serious dose of embellishment. So that's kind of cool to see in this space. Any applications that you're seeing a lot of in maybe in Europe that we don't see here?
I would say like games,
Yeah,
the games industry as well. Huh?
yeah,
We
for us
see
too.
more and more embellishment on it.
Yeah.
So I think it's a growing segment. Yeah.
So we're seeing a lot of that too, like the Pokemon type of work, the Panini cards, all that stuff.
Yeah.
It's a big market. However, that's really, I think, only a few people kind of control that market, at least in North
Yeah.
America. Uh,
We call it like the Pokemon effect, the
yeah,
Pokemon cards
yeah,
effect.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
We saw that people going crazy with Pokemon cards and brands are looking for that to create this commitment to their end customers and users. Yeah.
By the way, my kid is crazy about Pokemon cards. So if anybody out there is doing anything with Pokemon and you want to send it to us at Tactiful here, we'd love to do an unboxing with my 10-year-old and post that on the internet. So it'll be fun to do. Let's talk about run lengths. What we saw was kind of a fun shift. More or less, the average still is 500 sheets. So in 2023, the average run was about 500 sheets. And in 2025, the average run was about 500 sheets. What we have seen, though, is a shift of the amount of people who are doing 500 sheets and below. Those people have shifted to 500 sheets and above. So the run lengths are getting longer, and the core job run is no longer under 500 sheets. It's now starting to shift towards over 500 sheets. And I think a lot of that has to do with people number one, trusting their machines more. Maybe they have more
Yeah,
experience. Maybe their operators are much better. Maybe the technology itself is much more stable. I think one of the things that we're seeing too is that maybe the salespeople are more comfortable selling longer
yeah,
runs to their customers.
yeah.
What do you think about this?
And I will add that there is that new tools to help the sales force to make digital embellishments rising on the market in order to increase requests for that.
Yeah,
So I think there is like tools, people are more educated, so everything goes in the same direction.
yeah, I agree. Let's talk about marketing. I love you guys. You guys are phenomenal. You do the best marketing pieces for everybody else in the world. But traditionally, and this goes for the majority of us, we're not very good at marketing our own capabilities to the customers as printers. So, for all the printers out there, I do want to really tip my hat. We've seen a big increase in people who are, number one, now actively marketing their digital embellishments to their customers. So we've seen a 15% increase over people who are actively promoting this to their customers. And we've seen a decrease, so 10% decrease in people who are doing no marketing at all. So, marketers, I don't want to hear you complain about you don't have enough jobs for your machine. If you're not marketing this stuff and you're not telling people what's possible, there's no way that you can really feed that machine unless you have a really, really good customer that basically takes care of it. So really important, and I think this is key. If you really want to be successful with digital embellishments, you have to understand how to get the message out to your customers, let them know what you do, show them what you do, and this is really good representation of that. So, any thoughts, Paul André, on customers
Promotion is a
finally?
key driver for sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. I share those information for sure. Yeah.
yeah. So this is all in line with what you're seeing in Europe. Okay, so we asked about demand. We said, compared to last year, are you seeing more, less, the same demand for your digital embellishment or not? And what we saw was 56% said similar demand, but almost 30% of people said that there was an increase, a net increase in demand versus last year. So that's very positive in what we're seeing. People are actively ordering this stuff. The 6% who don't know, in likelihood, did not have digital embellishment equipment 1 year ago to compare against. And then the 9% who have less demand, I would love to talk to you. I mean, if you took our survey and you answered we have less demand than we did last year, like we got to do something about your marketing or let's talk to your sales teams because really, I think uh, that was really, I think we can't explain that. We tried, we looked at the data, we tried to cross-reference it. It didn't necessarily make sense with anything else that was lining up, but there is that. Overall, very positive in terms of market demand rise and almost a net 30% or 20% growth in demands. We're seeing that print buyers are now starting to integrate embellishments more. A lot of the comments that we got was that it's not being added on at the last second. Oh, this looks great. Let me just throw some embellishment on there and call it a day. No, no, this is all right. We're going to do a piece, but we want to design the piece from day one with embellishment in mind. That's one of the big feedbacks that we got, and that's really always results in a better campaign because you're actively thinking this out and not trying to just match what's on the prints. So there's a very positive thing with that. Familiarity. What we saw was we asked customers a year ago, once you installed your embellishment machine, how familiar would you say your customers are with what you can do? With regards to embellishments, we had 76% familiarity with the brands, and that's jumped up to 90% put on the meaning
Wow.
that if you ask a printer how familiar your customers are with this new machine that you just bought and what it could do for you, printers are reporting a 90% familiarity level, meaning that printers are feeling like they are getting that messaging across to their customers, showing them the samples, giving them ideas of what they could do, and having those conversations that could hopefully open up some new opportunities for them. Profitability has gone up too, so we've seen
Very
an increase in
interesting.
8 percentage points regarding how people are reporting their profitability levels. So this really shows us that we have better pricing strategies out there. People understand how to sell this better. They're getting more efficient in production. So it's maybe they're spending less time in pre-press. Maybe the operators are able to run more jobs per
Yeah.
day. Are you any feedback on this?
There is as well there is technologies that allow now to produce spot UV coating and hot fall stamping effect right in the same pass. So I think this comforts those words for sure. The workflows are much more efficient now. So it goes to this direction. Yeah.
That's great. That's a great point. We have seen an increase of 20 percentage points in terms of people who are training their sales team on how to sell embellishments. So I think this really shows that there is a growing awareness of the need to get the salespeople around the machine, teach them what the limits are, what they can do, what not to do, what to talk about, what not to talk about. And I think, there's been a strategic focus on selling more premium type work than just the commodity low margin stuff. And I think a lot of people are investing this technology to be able to unlock that margin which they desperately need. So this is very good. Let's talk about obstacles. What are some of the problems that people are running into once they buy these types of technologies? Well, number one, we've seen a decrease in client confusion of 6 percentage points, meaning that what our data is showing is that end customers, so brand owners, agencies, they're less confused about what we're talking about when we talk about digital embellishments. That's good. Cost justification has gone up 8 percentage points. So that's relatively high, meaning that customers might say it looks great, but I don't want to spend the extra money. And so typically what this is, and I think a lot of our viewers right now watching this will understand, there's this battle between the marketing departments and the procurement departments where marketing wants to do cool stuff and procurement wants to keep the cost down.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, the battle against the procurement departments is still one of the top things. So, yeah, it's going to cost me an extra 10 cents per piece. Justify it for me. Why should I spend 10 cents per piece? What is that going to do to my response rates, my sales rates? Why should I do it is really the question being asked. So again, that's one of the top conversations that's being done in the field. And then obviously design issues, people are finding it very difficult or more difficult to design than 2 years ago or a year and a half ago in our first set of data. Talk to me about this. I mean, you talk to users also in Europe. Is this about like your top three issues that you see your customers running into?
Mm, I would say yes. I think cost justification is the top one. Definitely, this can be a barrier or an obstacle to offer digital embellishment effects.
Right.
So there is some companies that are not, or there is some brands that are not willing to pay an extra just to have a spot fee. They are not looking for like a high impact. So this won't justify at all digital or to have a special effect on top of the print. So I think it's the biggest obstacle. Uh, Maybe there is still some education. Not there is people that are not as educated as others. So definitely project will not rise, will not comes. I think it's still the a second one, and I think I will stay with, like this with
Yeah.
those two.
But design, a lot of the designers, we talk to designers all the time, and at Tactiful, we do a lot of training with designers to teach them how to design for this stuff. They're coming out of school, they really are not having any focus on print. Everything is web, everything is video, and they have difficulty designing for print already. Forget about designing for print with embellishments and special effects. So that really seems to to drive that hammer home. And I think that's one of the conversations we need to have more of with the graphic arts departments in the universities to make sure that they're teaching them how to do this stuff. So overall, future outlook. I think you're gonna like this, Paul André. This is gonna be good for you. We asked them, would you do you have any investment plans to buy a second machine or another machine or a bigger machine in the next 12 months? And so back in 2023, 54% said yes, I'm looking at buying another machine in the next year. That has jumped up to 65% of the people that were surveyed said that yes, we're looking at buying another machine, which really shows us there's a strong confidence in how they're making money with the business model, with the customer demand, and how they're integrating that into their workflow. So there is definitely a big bump, almost 11 percentage point increase over 2 years ago regarding how they feel about investing in this technology. And I've talked to a ton of you guys who are out there, and a lot of you have just put in your second machine. Some of you have even put in your third machines. So this is kind of a trend that we're starting to see where you're having to keep up with demand and you're having to keep up with capacity and increase your capacity. So this is great news for the industry. And then number two is we asked them what is your outlook? Is it positive or is it negative regarding the future of digital print embellishments? And I think this is one of my favorite stats that are out there is that in 2023, 74% had a positive outlook, which was huge. That's nearly two-thirds. That's huge amount of people that have positive outlook on digital embellishment. But Andre, if you ask them what's your future outlook on just print in general, I could tell you that that number was much, 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 much slower. We
Yeah.
asked the same question this year. What are your future thoughts about digital embellishments? It jumped 14 percentage points and is now 88% have a positive outlook of where digital embellishment is going as an industry and as a segment and as a market, meaning that printers, even printers who are, I would say, very conservative or maybe not necessarily optimistic in their outlook for the print industry, will also say that there was a very positive outlook for digital embellishment. So this really just, I think, represents this wave that we're seeing that's
Yeah.
coming of embellishments, and I think that's very positive. So that's it, guys. That's the quick update. If you want more information, if you want the full report, it's 100 pages worth of data. It's at whattheythink.com. And the report is up and ready for you guys to look to download. Paul André, do you have any final questions or any final comments based on some of this intel that's coming out that we're starting to parse through from the study?
No, no, no. I just want to add that I fully agree with all the data coming from this study. I'm sharing it about my market here in Europe. I think we have a convergence all over the world about digital embellishment. Digital embellishment has a good future and a positive future. I will be more than pleased to answer and to help companies to get in digital embellishment technology.
That's fantastic. Well, again, thank you very much, Paul André. Thank you for all of you at the Jet Force for watching this video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out on the Jet Force. We are here to help you guys be successful, and hopefully some of this data is reassuring. And if not, let us know. We will see you guys next week for our operator meetup with Ken Huizenga. We're going to be talking about labels, and I think that'll be an interesting discussion to have. So if you guys are running labels, it'll be good for your operators to be as part of that operator meetup. I will see you guys next week. In the meantime, have a great weekend, and thanks again, Paul André, for your help.
You're welcome. Thank you. See you next week, Kev.